Dust motes drifted in the grey light of Elias's studio, the only movement in a room frozen by despair. Elias sat slumped on a rickety stool, surrounded by blank canvases and angry dark slashes of paint. The air reeked of turpentine and old sorrows. Shadows clung to the corners, refusing the weak November sun. Once a painter of some renown, Elias now lived in isolation, his friends and galleries long gone. The world outside was distant, unimportant. He stared at empty canvases, longing to paint but paralyzed by emptiness. Every object, a stack of stiff brushes, vibrant pigments, mocked his failure. The studio was his prison, each day closing in tighter. He often considered abandoning art, but it was all he knew. To give it up would be to lose himself entirely. So he waited, trapped, hoping for a spark to break the darkness. One Tuesday, Elias wandered into a forgotten antique shop, drawn by a strange pull. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of old wood and secrets. In the back, he found an ornate easel and a brush with a polished bone handle. The withered shopkeeper named a shockingly low price. "It chooses its owner," he rasped. Elias felt a flicker of hope and bought them without question. Back in his studio, the easel and brush seemed to glow with an inner light. The brush fit his hand perfectly, the urge to paint now irresistible. He set up a fresh canvas, feeling energy he hadn't known in years. The colors leapt onto the brush, vibrant and pure. Hesitation vanished, replaced by feverish inspiration. He would paint a self-portrait, proof the artist within him still lived. The tools hummed with a life of their own, whispering promises of greatness. Elias welcomed the magic, desperate for redemption. The brush flew across the canvas, guiding Elias's hand with unnatural confidence. He painted not the man he was, but the man he wished to be, vital, confident, radiant. Hours passed in a trance. The world outside disappeared. Each stroke brought the portrait to impossible life, more real than reality. Pride surged. This was his masterpiece, his salvation. But when he glanced at a dusty mirror, horror struck. His reflection was gaunt, eyes sunken, skin sallow, a grotesque contrast to the vibrant painting. For every stroke of life on the canvas, a piece of him faded. The painting was stealing his essence, feeding on his vitality. The portrait smiled, confident and knowing, while Elias's lips trembled in terror. He realized the masterpiece was a parasite, and he was its host. The beautiful colors were his, given to the canvas. The exchange was underway, and he was losing himself. Panic seized Elias. He had to destroy the painting, the easel, the brush. He lunged at the canvas, but an invisible force hurled him back. The portrait's eyes watched, cold and triumphant. He grabbed a poker and struck the easel, but it was unscathed, the sound ringing through the room. The brush vibrated with dark power. The tools were invulnerable. Desperate, Elias hurled paint jars and books, but nothing touched them. The studio became a storm of chaos, but the cursed objects remained untouched. His energy spent, Elias collapsed, feeling his life drain away. His hands were skeletal, his reflection barely human. The portrait glowed brighter. Perfection, absolute. The exchange was nearly complete. The art had taken everything. Elias was left a broken husk, the masterpiece triumphant. As the last of his life ebbed away, Elias stared at the painting that had consumed him. The man in the portrait was everything he'd ever wanted to be. Strong, vital, eternal. The masterpiece was perfect, and it had cost him everything. The painted smile was cold, predatory. Shadows claimed Elias at last. For a moment, other studios flashed by. A Parisian attic, a London flat, a Florentine workshop, each with a lifeless artist and a perfect painting. The easel and brush were always there, unchanged, silent witnesses to centuries of stolen genius. The montage faded. Sunlight streamed into a modern art shop. The familiar easel and brush stood in the window, pristine and full of promise. A hopeful young artist paused, eyes bright. The tools waited, ready for their next masterpiece and their next victim.